Okay, I see the green meter moving, so that means sound is coming through nicely. Oh boy. Okay. Finally, we're going to get into spoiler talks. Now, I know I talked a little bit about this during my live stream of the Moxie DLC for Borderlands 3, but now I'm dedicating a full stream to talking about all this stuff. Merry late Knishmashku! Good to see you here, Cool K. Always good to see you here. I hope everyone, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a good one. If you didn't, then I just hope you had like a wonderful week so far. Last week of 2019, peoples. But we're going to go ahead and get started with this whole spoiler talk because if anything, if it's any indication of how I felt during my reaction to it, then I'm going to very much enjoy going through talking about the spoilers of this film. Now, mind you, I don't remember every single thing off the top of my head. That's why I have the page of the whole movie synopsis so I can point out all the things that made me go, ugh, and the inconsistencies and the unexplained moments that I'm pretty sure will never be explained to us that could pretty much fill in a whole bunch of plot holes that this movie had. So let's go ahead and start with the beginning. First off, we got the opening crawl that has so many questions for it. The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Emperor Palpatine. So here's the thing. How is Palpatine back? Like, this is a question I was asking. This is a question I was asking when hold on, let me just pop out chat here so I can have the video, have the synopsis off to one side. This is a question I was asking when we saw the trailer for Rise of Skywalker. This confused me so much. Like, how is Palpatine back? Last time we saw him, he was getting thrown down a reactor shaft that I'm pretty sure most people don't come back from. I mean, Maul survived, but the place where he fell down into didn't explode at the end of the movie. Now, I know the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities that some would consider to be unnatural. But that does not excuse you from explaining how the dark side kept you alive after the reactor you fell into blew up with the rest of the space station. So, moving on. General Leia Organa dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence while Rey, the last hope of the Jedi, yeah, because she's the only hope, apparently, trains for battle against the diabolical First Order. She only does this in one scene and we never see it again. Meanwhile, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren rages in search of the Phantom Emperor, determined to destroy any threat to his power. So, and I was just sitting there, like, I was literally sitting like this, because the movie theater I go to, it has reclining seats. I was just sitting moderately reclined in the chair. I did not move from that spot whatsoever. I just sat like this the whole time. I wasn't like on the edge of my seat or I didn't get raised up in any way. I did not move at all during the movie because I was just so emotionally dead. But moving on. So a year after the Battle of Crate, and I'm reading the whole synopsis here and to point out all the things wrong with it. Year after the Battle of Crate, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren leads a vicious assault against Alazmec colonists. Personally admire Kylo. He's so cool. I think he's the only character out of this entire sequel trilogy that actually had some type of development that didn't actually make him worse. Now, granted, the movies are still but I think, and when I say didn't make him worse, he's, I mean, certain directions they took Kylo in, I'm just wondering why would you do that? I mean, out of everyone, he's the only one that I kind of personally like, if the shirt isn't anything to go by. But overall, it was just, So Kylo is on a planet. You know what? If I go by this synopsis page, then I'm not gonna really pay attention. I'll just be stuck reading the synopsis. So I'm just gonna go off of my memory. So Kylo goes to a planet to try and find a Sith Wayfinder that'll lead him to, well, Palpatine. And while he makes his way there, he goes to the planet Exegol, which is the home world of the Sith. I thought it was Korriban, and then they turned it into Morban, and now it's Exegol. How many original home planets of the Sith are there? And do they even remember where it is? So he goes there, and he makes his way into this, I don't know, Sith alchemy lab. I don't know. You probably see Alphonse Elric and Edward Elric in some vat somewhere being stored off to the side. But he makes his way down into this little workshop that looks like it comes straight out of the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman. And he sees Palpatine sitting in a chair. And, you know, for some odd reason, they have his face all hidden as if we don't know who he is. Oh, if we see his face, it's going to be Palpatine. It's not like the trailer spoiled that for us. So my thing is, stop trying to hide faces of people you revealed through trailers as if that's going to be a big shock moment, because it's not going to be. We know it's Palpatine. We know who he looks. We know who he is. We know what he looks like. Don't just hide his face off to the side like, hold on. Don't just hide his face off to the side like we have no idea who he is and only moderately show his face out of the hood as if we're supposed to guess and look who this is out of nowhere. And you see him speaking, but you don't see his face. You just see mouth moving, and that's it. And it's, and it's all like, really? We know what he looks like. Stop playing around. And then he goes on to say that Kylo says, I killed Snoke. And then Palpatine says, I made Snoke. And then it cuts to a whole bunch of vats where you see multiple Snoke clones just floating around. And I'm thinking, if you were cloning all these different versions of Snoke, why'd you make him look like that? Was it because the cloning process was incomplete? Why did the dude look like he slept on a waffle iron? I mean, I was just wondering, because you see a vat where there's two clones of Snoke just sitting there, and they both have the exact same face. It's not like he was working on the cloning process. No, they all came out the exact same way. So somewhere down the line, there was a misstep in shutting down that cloning factory on Camino, because you could have had some better looking people to fill that role. So then Palpatine is talking about bring the girl or find her or kill her, and then you'll become the new emperor, and then you'll own everything, and then the Sith fleet will rise or whatever. And it turns out on the planet Exegol, there is an absolutely immeasurable number of Star Destroyers that have been underground this entire time for the past 36 years. Is it 36 years? How many years have passed since Return of the Jedi? Canonically, how many years have passed since Return of the Jedi? But all these Star Destroyers have been underground this entire time with a full crew for every single one. A full crew of people who are just operating like normal, like there's no problem in the world. Every single one of these Star Destroyers has a full crew that have been, I guess, underground all these years, just waiting for Palpatine to say so. And they just rise up out of the ground, and then they just float. So that trailer where people were thinking this must be a dream, where there's so many Star Destroyers, there's absolutely no way there's many Star Destroyers on this planet. Big surprise! Turns out that the planet is just chock full of Star Destroyers, just waiting for Palpatine, who says, execute order episode 9. And then they just start floating in the air, and they just start floating, and then they just hold there. And then it cuts to like Poe and Finn. Oh my goodness, Finn. They did Finn dirty so much. It cuts to Poe. It has like Poe and Finn. Kevin Acevedo. Sorry. Got to get rid of my stiff throat real quick. I was moderately cosplaying. But Poe and Chewie, and they're getting like a message from a spy to let them know where like who this message is coming from, and they're doing all this hyperspace jumping. And one thing that's made me kind of curious is, okay, so the Millennium Falcon, jumping into hyperspace, I understand. When could TIE fighters do that? How do you go about installing hyperdrive modules in all these TIE fighters all of a sudden, and you couldn't before? Like, you have Star Destroyers with TIE fighters on them, and you could have easily sent them after. You could have easily sent them. Oh my goodness, I'm actually starting to bring up some problems I have with The Last Jedi. Like, only the Star Destroyers are chasing the Star Destroyers in The Last Jedi were chasing after the fleet because they were running out of fuel and because the fleet was moving faster and out of range of the Star Destroyers. Well, there were hyperdrives installed in X-Wings since Episode 4. But this is the first time we see TIE fighters hyperspace skipping, where Poe says, I'm hyperspace skipping, and he jumps into hyperspace, and it's random places, and he's flying around, and then he jumps into again, and the TIE fighters are just keeping up with him. So do they have a tracker on the TIE fighter themselves? Because they're keeping up with Poe until it gets to one point where they all just blow up. And then it cuts to Rey. I'm just paraphrasing here, and I'm just running through this. It cuts to Rey, and she's, demonstrating just how powerful she is by floating in the air with multiple rocks around her, like she's Avatar Aang, not Ong, Aang, floating around, and she's just saying, "Be with me," with the, and she's just spinning around in place. Letting the force flow. And she's floating, and she's got like multiple rings of rocks, because the true way you can display Rey's power, because she's the most powerful person to ever use the force ever, is to show her floating in midair with multiple rocks around her. Luke couldn't do that. No, he couldn't, because he didn't spend time doing that. And Luke just to give up the ghosts, and now he a ghost. So lands on the ground, and then she's training with Leia, and she's saying, "Oh, I can't sense anything. I can't feel anything from any of the past Jedi." And then she says she's going to run the training course, and she just runs through it. And I guess the little floating training droid was giving her trouble, and she tried to take it out. I guess she's terrible at using a lightsaber, because she's not able to hit it at all with a lightsaber, but she's able to hit it with a staff, no problem. And then it gets to the point where the Millennium Falcon comes back, and both her and Poe are arguing about what happened to the Falcon, and then he's arguing with her about what happened to BB-8, because he's got like a little chunk of his body missing, like a circular part or something or whatever, and they're arguing back and forth. And actually, you know what? I may have to pull up the synopsis as a whole. Let's see. Oh, I forgot that we hear James Earl Jones come back as Darth Vader for a short moment when Palpatine is looking at Kylo and saying, "I am every voice you have ever heard inside your head." And okay, let's see. As a surface, okay, vital mission. Meanwhile, on the Millennium Falcon, ex-Stormtrooper Finn, a resistant pilot, engaged a Wookiee Chewbacca in an intense game. But they're playing chess, because this movie needs to have a funny moment. From what you've been saying so far, it seems like they were kind of reaching in the sequel. Dude, you don't even know. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, the tech doesn't make sense in many places. This started for me in Episode 8 when the X-Wings could blow up turrets in one shot. So I was like, okay, I won't let this bother me. I'll just think the tech evolved and we were not shown. There's a lot of tell, don't show that should be show, don't tell. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have the synopsis up, and I'll have the chat outwards, because I need to stay on track, and I need to make sure that I'm not missing out anything vital or dismissive. Real quick, let me just get the chat off to the side. Come over here. There we go. All right, because I'm not worried about looking at my face. I'm just concerned about being able to see you guys. So, vital mission. Okay, we've seen this one. Poe's jumping through space with the TIE fighters. Yada yada. Rey's meditating, floating with some rocks. And she falls to the ground. Well, she doesn't fall. She just shows how skilled she is at falling by, doing a backflip and landing on her feet slowly through the force. Okay, trying to inadvertently destroy the training droid. Eventually, she's able to do it with a simple stick. As she does, a vision begins, induced by Ren via Vader's helmet. The vision contains many characters and events: Palpatine's fleet, her mentor Han Solo. Mentor? How long was she with Han Solo for him to be a mentor to her? They were together for one movie, and then he died. Wouldn't her mentor be Luke a little bit? The one person that can kind of come back? A dark version of herself and more. This vision upsets her greatly. Because of this, Rey does not initially notice that her campaign to destroy the training droid BB-8 is damaged. All right. You know what? I was so out of it for this movie that I didn't even notice that the tree that fell on BB-8 was what caused him to lose that part in the first place. Ugh. After she does, she returns to base where she tells Leia that she is not herself and concedes that perhaps she is tired. Yeah, we're all tired. She returns the lightsaber to Leia, saying that she would learn to wield Luke's Skywalker saber one day, to which BB-8 replies that he can. Rey is skeptical, but Leia tells her never to underestimate a droid. Later, while Rey is studying holocrons and wayfinders in one of the ancient Jedi books, you know what? I might as well just read through this so we can just point out the inconsistencies here. She found at the first Jedi temple the Falcon returns, but it's on fire thanks to Poe's light space skipping. Poe berates Rey, who is angry that her beloved ship is on fire. Beloved ship. While Poe is aggravated because BB-8 is not in good shape either. Rey tells Poe he is difficult and rushes over to give a shaken Finn a hug while Poe tends to his droid. After Rey finds out Poe light speed skipped, she is even angrier as she knows the Falcon cannot support this. How did you know? Unless you actually did some hyperspace skipping or Han told you. At a resistance briefing, Poe informs those assembled that Palpatine has returned. The news caused a ripple of shock. Rose Tico is dubious, while Beaumont Kin proposes that cloning has led to this. Poe reveals that Palpatine has been planning something sinister in the shadows, the Final Order. Poe says that in 16 hours, attacks on all free worlds begin. Poe reveals that Palpatine is hiding on Exegol. C-3PO says that Exegol does not exist in star charts and is known as a hidden land of the Sith. Can't stay, not seen the movie, but wishing you a happy Christmas. Okay, thanks, Grant. Go ahead and get out of here so I don't spoil you on anything else. Well, if you are in a war, would you study what your ship can and can't do? More or less. Rey deeply... But here's the thing. Exegol is the hidden land of the Sith. How many hidden lands do they have? Rey, deep in thought, rushes over to grab her Jedi book and shows Leia that she can get to Exegol as Luke had searched for and nearly found the mysterious planet. Before he decided that, you know what, I'm done. I tried to kill my nephew, so now I'm bad. Now I'm going to go hide. But before I go hide, here's a map to come find me. Even though I'm telling you I'm going there to hide and go into exile, I'm giving you a map to find me who's on exile for whatever reason. Rey informs Leia that a Sith Wayfinder is necessary to find Exegol. Leia refuses to allow it, claiming the mission is too dangerous. But Rey says that she will go because she knows Leia would do the same if she were in her place. No, probably not, because Leia is old here. She would not be going out of her way to try and find Exegol. To personally find Exegol. She probably would be sticking with the fleet and trying to figure out a way to do this without having to find Exegol or whatever. But then again, what do I know? She might actually do that. Rise of a Dark Warrior. We have a spy in our midst. Whoever that traitor is, it won't stop us. A metalsmith, whatever his name is, stitches Ren's helmet back together as he looks on surrounded by his Knights of Ren. We never get any other thing about the Knights of Ren other than their appearance in The Force Awakens and here. We just see them in appearance. That's it. With that, they go back to a Star Destroyer to meet with the preceding members of the First Order, including General Hux and Pride. Ren, who has found and killed Bulio, the guy that gives him the information that Palpatine is back, slams Bulio's decapitated head on the table and informs him that they have a spy in their midst. He tells him that the First Order is about to become a new powerful empire. He then asks Hux if he has a problem with his mask, to which the general says he does not, while the officer seated next to him agrees. Butt kisser. Another official says that the Sith fleet on Exegol sounds like a cult. Pride disagrees and believes the fleet will correct the error of Starkiller Base. The official then wonders aloud whether the fleet is a gift and what Palpatine might ask in return, leading to Ren to choke him and smash him up against the ceiling by means of the Force. Ren then orders his men to prepare to crush anyone who defies the First Order or the Sith fleet. He then departs to hunt for Rey. And then we have mission to Pasana, the desert planet where everyone's all like, ooh, ha, hee, ya, hee, hey, ho, hoo, hoo, hoo. You know, festive dance. Falcon comes out of hyperspace over the desert planet Pasana. They land at Luke's coordinates and look around until they stumble upon the Aki Festival of the Ancestors, which, according to 3PO, only happens once every 42 years. They walk around amongst the crowd for a while, trying to keep a low cover. As Rey gazes at some Aki youngsters, a child known as Nambi Gima comes up to welcome her and gives her a necklace. When asked for her name, the Jedi responds Rey. When asked for her family name, she responds that she doesn't have one. At that moment, Kylo Ren establishes a connection with Rey through their bond. He tells her that Palpatine wants her dead, to which Rey replies that he is serving another master, which Ren denies, claiming he has other plans. After insisting he will turn her to the dark side, Ren reaches out and grabs her necklace, pulling it through the Force into his own locale. So, what is the deal? Now, I know the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some would consider unnatural. Well, what type of Force are you using where you can literally share a connection with someone, then grab whatever they're holding or what it's attached to them and pull it through time and space to wherever you are? Like, they did this multiple times in Last Jedi, like when Rey was on the planet with Luke and they were connecting through the Force, and then some water sprayed on Ren, on Kylo. That's how one way came to it. And now he's just establishing connection. He's all like, okay, she could send water my way. Let me see if I could just grab that necklace she got on and just pull it right onto my ship. Oh, I know where she at now. Like, when could the Force transcend time and space completely? Like, I know there's like a moment in Star Wars Rebels. Thank you, Father. I know there's a time in Rebels where Palpatine is trying to open a door into like a time-space pocket dimension where he could actually travel through time and see different moments in time and space. But I'm just wondering, how do they know that they were able to do this? And, you know, like, just how can you just grab stuff through the Force? Like, it was difficult for some people to believe that you could influence people with the Force or move stuff with your mind and struggling so much. But nope, let's just transcend time, space, and distance. And let me just grab this necklace while you're on this planet, while I'm just chilling up in my ship up in space. So that's just something there. At that moment, Kylo establishes a connection, claiming other plans, and grabs the necklace, pulling it through the Force to his own locale. Ren realizes the First Order is coming and runs off to warn her friends. As they prepare to escape, a stormtrooper finds them, but is quickly shot by a mysterious hero who turns out to be a Lando. Reveal himself to be Lando Calrissian, the man who destroyed the second Death Star at the Battle of Endor many years ago. He shows them a hologram of a Sith Wayfinder and explains that only 2 remained. He further reveals that he once accompanied Luke on a mission to track a man named Ochi, whom they believe held one of the Wayfinders. But when they arrived, they found his ship abandoned. At that moment, the First Order arrives, and Lando sends them all off with directions. The heroes and droids sink in the shifting mire similar to quicksand, but rocky after being chased by First Order jet troopers. Soon they find themselves in massive underground tunnels where they locate Ochi's remains. It seems he fell through the sinking fields and was never able to escape. They soon recover Ochi's dagger, which is inscribed with a Sith text 3PO can't translate due to restrictions in his programming. As they are about to turn away, the team runs into a giant aggressive Vexis snake. Vexis? Our heroes prepare to fight their way to freedom. When Rey notices that the snake is injured, using Force healing, Rey appeases the Vexis snake before the group finds a way out. So she automatically knows how to heal wounds all of a sudden, and she's suddenly an expert at it, even though we don't ever see any moment of this whatsoever. Rey senses Kylo Ren. It could have been done off screen. You don't do this type of stuff off screen because it's going to make people think she's overpowered with absolutely no way of knowing how she attained that power. So this type of stuff you got to show. Like, if you just leave it to the imagination, the only thing we're going to come to the conclusion with is, oh, She just knows how to do that now. But all that I'm saying is just my own personal opinion. Don't allow what I'm saying to kind of influence you in some sort of way or make you think that what I'm saying out of my mouth is fact. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. This is just how I feel personally. Rey senses Kylo Ren is near and goes out to confront him. Ren rushes towards her in his TIE whisper, but Rey leaps over the oncoming ship and severs a wing with her lightsaber, causing the TIE to crash, causing it to roll a massively long distance and crash with an explosion that he walks away from completely unscathed with his helmet in his hands. So I don't know if he took the helmet off before the crash or he took it off like during the crash, or he just takes it off when he's walking towards her. Meanwhile, the Knights of Ren capture the Falcon, Chewbacca and the dagger. Rey, attempting to save Chewbacca, struggles against Ren for control of a First Order transport, which she accidentally destroys by releasing an unintentional blast of Force lightning. So she just, out of nowhere, with struggling to hold on to the First Order transport, she just lets out a burst of Force lightning, and it just completely destroys the ship. Now, I'm going to let you know, that moment actually got a bit of an eyebrow raise out of me. But then I just immediately facepalmed because I was thinking, wow, they really are trying to kill off everybody from the original trilogy. Like, the only one who hasn't been, kind of manhandled in any way is R2. The group escapes on Ochi's ship, believing Chewbacca was killed in the explosion and the dagger destroyed. In reality, Chewie is being held by Hux and Pride. Crushed, the group fly away from the planet. Yet all is not lost. 3PO has the dagger's message stored in his memory. A plan to hack the protocol droid's programming restrictions is formed, and following a tip from Poe, the heroes set course for Kijimi. During the trip, BB-8 finds and reactivates the droid Dio on Ochi's ship. Colonel Dioda! New mission! The heroes of the Resistance make their way to the snow-dusted planet of Kijimi to execute their plan to discover what secrets the dagger held. The Resistant team arrives on the planet and bump into Zorii Bliss and her crew. She reveals that Poe has a colorful past, once worked as a spice runner, and still owes her money. A backstory that pretty much goes absolutely nowhere. I mean, if you completely left out the fact that Poe is a spice runner at all during the story, it would have absolutely no impact on it whatsoever. A skirmish occurs before Rey gets the upper hand, and Zorii agrees to bring them to Babu Frick. One things I actually like from this movie is Babu. One of the few things, I can count like 4, maybe 3 things I like overall. To hack CPO's programming to read the Sith language on the dagger. Unknown to them, the Knights of Ren have tracked them there. Zorii Bliss brings them through a back alley and into a little bar in order to get to the droid ship. Frick tells everyone that he can unlock the message to be read, but in doing so, C-3PO's memory will be wiped. Still reeling from the loss of Chewbacca, the heroes argue about finding another way to get the job done, but in an act of self-sacrifice, C-3PO voluntarily consents to the modifications, knowing that he will be lost in the act. Frick completes the hack, and 3PO is now able to read the Sith language at the expense of his memory. And this whole self-sacrifice kind of just one-ups itself and does a reversal at the end of the film because R2 ends up giving his memories back. So in the end, there wasn't really a long-term sacrifice. It was just a self-sacrifice for the moment to get feels. And then as soon as he gets back to R2, his memories are restored. So basically, we didn't lose anything permanently. We didn't lose 3PO. He's still the exact same. He just doesn't know what happened leading up to getting his memory wiped. So literally, there's nothing lost if R2 had his memory already. Let's see. Translated text point to the location of the Emperor's Wayfinder. Having served his purpose, C-3PO's memory wipes begins and he shuts down. Once the memory wipe is complete, 3PO reboots with a completely empty memory until he runs into R2, who restores his memory back. Outside the bar, Zorii and Poe reminisce about old times. This doesn't get brought up again. There is some lingering connection there, even though they had some sort of falling out in the past. Poe tries to convince Sora to join them. She turns him down, but she understands the good in what Poe is trying to do and gives him a First Order captain's medallion as a gesture of goodwill to help them get through the First Order security. She had been saving to buy this medallion back on the black market as her ticket off Kijimi and away from her spice running days, but she gives it to Poe. As the First Order arrives, Rey senses that Chewie is alive. As the heroes escape on Ochi's ship, the group makes the decision to use the passage device to board the Star Destroyer and recapture the Falcon and save Chewie. The device works and their ship lands without question. Rey uses a mind trick to confuse the stormtroopers. There's a lot of comedy. And I say comedy, I mean, I want to say it's not really funny. It's just like there's moments where they try to make things really, really lighthearted and funny for whatever reason. Like, as much as people don't like the pre-sequels, they didn't have moments where it was like, oh, let's laugh at this moment because funny. No. I know Phantom Menace tried to be funny with Jar Jar Binks, and well, we kind of see how that worked out. Then we have Attack of the Clones, where it kind of started to phase, really phase all that out and just made everything, kind of serious. And then Revenge of the Sith, I cannot speak today. What is going on with my tongue today? Revenge of the Sith kind of did away with that completely. And, there were some funny moments in the original trilogy, but they were actually funny. Here in the sequels, it just feels like, okay, let's add in a funny moment here because it feels like it needs to have a funny moment here. Not because anything is actually funny, but because we can't have an overly serious film. We're by Disney now. Disney doesn't like serious films because you can't sell that to kids. So we got to make it funny so kids can laugh. Ha ha, they said funny thing. Ha, they're arguing. I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. But when she does Rafe calling, let's see, where did I go? The device works and their ship lands without question. Rey uses a mind trick to confuse the stormtroopers. In a moment, there's all like, hey, guys, it's good to see you here. I'm like, they don't ever condition stormtroopers to have, resistance to, mind tampering or mind control or anything like that. Or like truth serums. I thought they were all trained by Phasma to be like these ruthless, merciless killers. They're supposed to be even worse than the original Stormtroopers when Palpatine was, alive. And now all of a sudden they're just melancholy dudes that can easily be influenced by the Force. And now they're just like, hey guys, it's good to see you here. Man, it's good to see you. And it's like, we're not gonna call security or anything. You guys are welcome here. Where's the prison deck? The prison deck is down there. That's the whole mood that it had for the stormtroopers. I don't know if it was trying to be funny, but it didn't click with me. Enabling them to find Chewie, though Rey splits off, feeling as if something is calling to her. Meanwhile, Poe and Finn find Chewie, but their rescue attempt fails and they are all taken captive. The calling Rey feels is caused by the dagger, which draws her to it in Kylo's living quarters. Rey finds and grabs Ochi's dagger, but when she does, it gives her visions of what happened to her parents. Ochi found and killed them with that dagger, and that her parents were trying to hide her from Ochi. When she breaks free of the vision, a bond with Kylo begins. He discovers that she is on his Star Destroyer, and a lightsaber duel breaks out between the two of them across two different locations. Kylo on the surface of Kijimi, and Rey aboard the Star Destroyer. So they're using that, whatever that force bond is, they're able to physically come in contact with one another, and they start fighting with lightsabers on two different planes. Kylo is on the ground on the planet, and Rey is all the way up in the Star Destroyer, and they're just having a full-on lightsaber fight between one another. Using the Force, they're able to, just fight with one another. During this encounter, Kylo reveals that there is more to the story behind Rey and her parents, and Ochi was sent to find and recover Rey, not kill her. Her parents just got in the way, so he killed them. She is still wanted for the darkness that resides within her. It's clear that by this point, Kylo is fully committed to the Sith Lord's mission for him. So here's the thing. The inconsistencies with Kylo's character is the fact that he says that in this movie, he says that I never lied to you. Therefore, but in the In the last movie, he says, "Your parents are nothing. They are nothing." And then he reveals who Rey's parents are after saying, "I've never lied to you." Yet in the previous film, he blatantly lied to her, I guess to draw her to the dark side, but at the same time, yeah. And then we come to the big moment of the film that's supposed to be surprising, but actually someone put a theory out like 4 years ago. And I'm wondering if Disney saw that and decided to make that the screenplay for this film. A new revelation. When it appears that all is lost for Finn, Poe, and Chewie, who had been captured by the First Order, General Hux arrives and surprisingly not only allows them to escape, but points them in the direction of the Falcon. And turns out that Hux was the mole within the First Order that Finn and Poe had received information from. When asked, he tells them that he wasn't doing it to help the Resistance, but rather because he didn't want Kylo Ren to win, inadvertently helping the Resistance. Ren arrives and faces off Rey, in which he reveals that she is Palpatine's granddaughter. Her father was the son of the Emperor, and Kylo once again offers for Rey to join him, but she refuses, escaping in the Falcon. Hey, Kevin Dumbo, good to see you. The reason why Rey is so powerful is not because she's good. It's because she has Palpatine's blood in her. It's not because she's super skilled at using the Force. It's because she has the blood of the Senate in her. So all the theories that people had of Rey being a Skywalker, Rey being a Kenobi, yeah, those are out the window now. Let's see. After they leave, Pride kills Hux for treason against the First Order. They just straight up kill Hux. He doesn't get no resolution or anything like that. They just bring him after they beat him a little bit. I think they beat him. They beat him, and then Pride just without looking, just shoots him in the chest and just dead. I thought she was going to be a Palpatine since Episode 7. Well, your theory was proven correct. Pride assumes control of the First Order military. Palpatine contacts Pride and demands that he use one of the specially equipped Star Destroyers to destroy Kijimi as an act of loyalty, and Pride complies. So now, all the Star Destroyers, she was going to be a Palpatine since Episode 7 to contrast Kylo. So all the Star Destroyers that were on planet Exegol with Palpatine, they are all equipped with basically Death Star lasers installed on them. Every single Star Destroyer in that massive fleet. Hey, Psycho, what's going on, man? Hope everybody who celebrates Christmas had a great Christmas. So all the Star Destroyers are equipped with lasers that can destroy planets like the Death Star, but they're all on regular Star Destroyers, and they're a lot more mobile than Death Star, so he can just send them to all reaches of the galaxy, and anyone who stands against him, they're dead. So every Star Destroyer has a planet-destroying weapon on them. And the thing is, the beam itself, it looks even smaller than the beam from the Death Star, and yet it just goes straight through the planet, into the core, and just blows it up from the inside. Pride tells Kylo that even though they don't have the dagger, they know where the Resistance is going because they scanned it while it was still in their possession. Mission to Kef Bir. The information learned from C-3PO's translation of the dagger's writing leads to the location of a second Wayfinder device, which turns out to be aboard the wreckage of the second Death Star on the ocean moon of Kef Bir. The team eventually meet a woman named Jana. She heard about them from Babu Frick and at their urging offered to take them to the location of the Wayfinder the next day. While fixing the Falcon with Finn, Jana reveals she was once a stormtrooper known as TZ1719 and that her whole tribe were former stormtroopers. They mutinied at a battle which they were told to fire on civilians. Kind of like Finn. And here's one thing about Finn that I say they did him dirty. You know what made Finn so unique among all the characters? Was the fact that he was a deserter stormtrooper in the midst of everybody. Now, bringing in all of these people on this ocean moon who turn out to be deserters just like Finn, what makes Finn unique now? Because that was his one unique trait that they had, was the fact that he used to be a stormtrooper and now he's working with the Resistance. Now all these people come in and they turn out to be stormtrooper mutineers. So it pretty much makes Finn's one big trait that made him unique kind of redundant now, because now other people have it. So, if things remain unique until the other people have the exact same thing, then it's not as unique no more. So what unique qualities does Finn have now that these people done showed up? One thing that made him different is not with other people. Once again, my own opinion, but I feel like Finn as a character. He was a stormtrooper deserter. Now more people show up. Now that's kind of not his thing anymore. He's just a resistant soldier now, just like everybody else. He's no longer as unique as he used to be. Fixing mutiny in a battle with your total founder of civilians. But soon the group realizes they have not seen range. He had, in fact, taken a skimmer and was headed to get the Wayfinder. Rey uses the dagger to locate the Wayfinder by aligning a plate hidden in the hilt with a specific part of the Death Star's wreckage, and discovering the two shapes match perfectly. Upon contacting the Wayfinder, she envisions herself as a Sith. A short battle between Rey and the Sith vision ensues. Kylo, having tracked the group to Kef Bir, destroys the Wayfinder in an attempt to channel her anger and duels Rey. Ren gets the upper hand. The dying Leia calls to Kylo through the Force, but Rey impales her. Well, no, Rey impales him. Sensing Leia's death, Rey heals Kylo and takes his ship to exile herself to Ankh-To, and shaken by her Sith lineage. Okay, so Leia does basically the same thing that kills Luke in The Last Jedi, except she only does it through her voice. And I guess she's not even as powerful as Luke to, project herself to him, because she only does it by her voice. And in order for him to, she only says one word. She just says Ben, and then she dies. And then that's it. And then Rey pretty much goes back to the same planet where Luke was and just exiles herself, shaken by her Sith lineage. As she prepares to throw the Skywalker lightsaber in the burning wreckage of Kylo's ship, Luke's Force spirit appears. Now, here's the thing I'm wondering about Force ghosts. Are they not affected by the physical things in the world, or are they? Are they actually there, or are they just a ghost? Like, what constitute as a ghost in the Star Wars world now? Can they be affected by physical things? Because when Luke shows up, he not only catches the lightsaber, but he also is affected by the wind on the planet as well. Like, you see his hair blowing in the wind. You see his clothes blowing in the wind. Maybe they wanted to give Luke like a more down-to-earth feel, like he's still connected to the physical world, so that's why he's still affected by it. I don't know how Force ghosts work. Can they select what part of them can, be physically manipulated by the physical world or what? I don't know, but he's getting the wind blown on him and he can pick up things just fine. If that's the case, then why aren't all Jedi trying their best to, become one with the Force so they can... He's essentially still alive, but he's a ghost now. So he basically can do anything, and he can't be killed because he's already dead. Once again, I'm nitpicking. My apologies, but that just stood out for me. As she prepares to throw the lightsaber away, he tells the story of Leia's Jedi training and encourages Rey to face Palpatine as he faced Vader, giving her Leia's lightsaber and his old X-Wing. And, he never once tried to lift the X-Wing out of the water where he crashed it into before, but since he's a Force Ghost, he done got a massive power boost, so now he's finally able to lift his X-Wing out of the water. He couldn't do it the first time he was training with Yoda, but now he can do it since he died. It took Luke dying for him to be able to lift his X-Wing out of the water completely now. Rey leaves for Exegol using the Wayfinder on Kylo's ship. On Kef Bir, Kylo converses with a vision of Han Solo, his father, and throws his lightsaber in the water near the wreckage of the Death Star, reclaiming his identity as Ben Solo. Rey arrives on Exegol and transmits her location to the Resistance. She confronts Palpatine and the Sith Eternal, who demand that she kill him to transfer his spirit into Rey. Palpatine's goal is to have Rey kill him so he can transfer his spirit into Rey so he can take over Rey, wielding both her power and his own power in a brand new body, and then rule over the Final Order. The Resistance engages in battle with the Sith Lord's fleet, though they are overpowered, suffering losses like Temmin Wexley. I don't know what Temmin Wexley is because I forget a lot from the last films. Ben overpowers the Knights of Ren and arrives to help Rey, but Palpatine rejuvenates himself by absorbing the life essences of Rey and Ben, and then disables the Resistance fleet above with Force Lightning. Now, this is the second cool moment in the film for me, is when he absorbs the life force from Rey and Ren, from Rey and Ben, and he just stares up and he just lets off Force Lightning with enough power to pretty much disable every single ship in the sky. Like, he hits the clouds and then the cloud spreads the lightning all over and it's hitting every single ship. How is he controlling it with that much precision where it doesn't hit a single Star Destroyer, but it hits every single Resistance ship? I don't know. But when I was in the movie theater and you hear the bass of how it just shoots out of his hands, I'm like, and it was cool. Then it starts to go downhill for me. Palpatine tells Ben that he will be the last Skywalker and uses the Force to throw him into a nearby chasm, seemingly killing him. This is a Disney film. You can't count on that actually being the last time you see people. Disney plays it safe like that too much. A weakened Rey hears the voices of past Jedi, Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn. I hear Liam Neeson in there. Ahsoka, Master Yoda, Mace Windu, Kanan Jarrus, Ayla Secura, Luminaru Unduli, Adi Gallia, Luke Skywalker, and Knight Anakin Skywalker, who lend their strength and encourage her to continue on. Palpatine fiercely attempts to destroy his own granddaughter with lightning, but Rey deflects it back towards him using 2 lightsabers, disintegrating his body and killing him once and for all, though Rey dies from the effort of the powerful attack. A hand appears at the edge of the chasm, and an injured Ben pulls himself up, falling to his knees beside Rey and pulling her dead body into his lap. He cries over her and embraces Ren's body, looking somewhat determined. Pulling away, Ben puts his hand on her stomach, using the Force to resurrect her and sacrificing himself, seemingly exchanging his life for hers. Rey awakens, smiles at Ben, and touching his cheek gently. The two embrace before kissing passionately. Where was this? Where did this come from? This is Reylo is now officially canon. Rey, moments after Ben falls backwards, succumbing to his injuries and dying as the last Skywalker, his body fading away as he becomes one with the Force, with Leia's body doing the same as it happens. After returning for Finn and Janna, Lando leads the Resistance, now backed by reinforcements, including Zori Bliss, who was able to destroy the remainder of the Sith Lord's armada, ending the First Order Resistance War and beginning a new age of peace across the galaxy. A war's end. The Resistance and the galaxy at large celebrate their victory. Maz Kanata bestows Chewbacca with a Medal of Bravery, saying that he deserves it. How many medals of bravery has this dude had already? Poe and Zori exchange a look, and it seems like Poe is trying to ask Zori if she would like to celebrate with him privately, to which she shakes her head. Rey then returns and shares a hug with Finn and Poe. Rey visits the Lars homestead on Tatooine, where she buries Luke and Leia's lightsabers in the sand, having now built her own, a black-handled lightsaber with a yellow blade. A local asks her name, and seeing spirits of Luke and Leia look on, Rey gives herself the name of as Rey Skywalker. Rey and BB-8 then head off in a distance as the twin sons of Tatooine set. This is the rise of Skywalker. What did you guys think? Because I feel, personally, there's so many things that could have been good about this movie, but since Disney was all like, no, we can't have like a dark film or anything like that. We gotta have like a. It just felt like I said in my reaction, it just felt like very by the numbers to me. It didn't feel like it was like I was watching like a Star Wars film. It just felt very formulaic and it felt very predictable. That's just how I see it. But here's one thing that got me about Palpatine. Palpatine says that do I like drink vodka? I don't drink at all. I've never had a drink in my life. It doesn't interest me. Because I like to keep my head on at all times. Plus, I don't know how my body would be with alcohol in it. Like, I don't know my tolerance level. But overall, it's never been something that's actually been on my bucket list. But Palpatine wants Rey brought before him. Well, he says he wants Kylo to eliminate her. And then he says, bring her before so he can transfer his essence into Rey. And do I have Gan? I have no idea what that is. If it's a type of food, then I haven't tried it yet. But Palpatine wants Rey to be brought before him so he can transfer his essence into her when Rey kills him so he can take over her body. Then, when things don't go his way, he ends up trying to kill Rey. You know, the one thing he's been trying to get so he can become powerful again. And he ends up sucking the life out of both Rey and Ben. And then he gets his Sith eyes back, like his body heals up completely. Because apparently they both Kylo, both Ben and Rey. I'm just gonna keep calling him Kylo Ren for some reason. But both Rey and Ben are like a divergence in the Force. So when the two are together, ridiculous things happen, like them being able to transport things through time and space. Like when Kylo was fighting the Knights of Ren after he went back to the light side of the Force, Rey puts the lightsaber behind her back and she pulls her hand back and it's gone. And then Kylo pulls his hand out and then he has a lightsaber and then he just looks at him like, do I drink tea? Yes, occasionally. Occasionally. It tends to usually only be if I'm feeling bad, and it only tends to be like lemon zinger because that tends to help with colds. But Kylo ends up getting the lightsaber like through whatever wormhole the Force then conjured up, and now they're able to transport things through time and space because I guess that's a thing that only Rey and Kylo can do together since they share such a strong bond. Here, you want this piece of gum? I'm all the way on my Star Destroyer, but you want it? Sure. And then they hand it to each other. And then, do you realize how easy it is? It would be easy if Jedi learned to use that. They'd never have to worry about sending secret messages on foot. They just have to connect with one another with a bond, and then they could just hand out, here's a secret message, give it to the High Council. Very well. And then they're on completely different planets, completely different galaxies, everywhere. Live in Russia. Oh, well, welcome. Welcome to my Rise of Skywalker spoiler talk. I thank you for being here. It is good to see you. Family 136. But I'm just thinking, Palpatine has all this power. He sucks the life out of both of them. And then he uses Force Lightning to pretty much destroy the fleet. Then when Rey's coming at him, you would think Palpatine would learn. You would think Palpatine would learn from the first time he tried to use Force Lightning on somebody from the light side of the Force that maybe I should use something else. Because with all his power, he's driving Rey back with one lightsaber and she's deflecting it or absorbing it. Then she uses two lightsabers. Do I eat bread? Yes. Let's! Sorry. but she uses two lightsabers to block the Sith lightning and throws it back at him, and then it starts to completely disintegrate his body because I guess his Force lightning is so powerful it literally can just disintegrate the body down to nothing. But my thing is, Palpatine is supposed to be smart. This is the man that orchestrated the entire downfall of the Jedi during his time as Chancellor, orchestrated the whole war that started in Episode 1, led all the way to Revenge of the Sith, and wound up killing, pretty much destroying almost all of the Jedi. This dude played it safe. Dude was able to hide his true self from even people like Master Yoda, Mace Windu, even Obi-Wan Kenobi, who are able to, like sense any and everything. Even Yoda, who's over 900 years old and who's ridiculously strong. You forgot the R with Jar Jar Binks. But this man is super smart. So you would think that if Sith lightning isn't working on her, it may be driving her back a little bit, but it's not enough to kill her. Maybe use some different methods. Like he was able to pick up Kylo Ren and just throw him around and threw him in a chasm. And he didn't even waste no Sith lightning on it. So when Rey comes along, he's just like, okay, I'm super powerful now. So all I need is Sith lightning in order to get rid of her. And then he keeps using it, and even when she's still blocking it and she's not getting killed by it, you have girls. Just my sister. I'm not a father. I'm not a father. But he keeps using the Sith lightning. There we go. Thank you. Keeps using the Sith lightning on her, even when she's not being killed by it. And then she uses two lightsabers, and it's all. I'm thinking like, dude, you're smart. Stop using the thing that she's blocking. If an enemy is blocking an attack from you, and you continuously use that attack, eventually they're going to find an opening with you using that same attack. So that's why you use a completely different attack to switch up the combat. I don't know if it was because Palpatine was high on Force energy and power. I see you smiling right there, grinning. But Palpatine's supposed to be smart. He made calculated plans and had plans on top of plans. So it would dawn in his mind. Sorry if I'm getting distracted here. My sister, she's kidding around with me so much. But you would think he'd be smart enough to realize that Force lightning isn't killing her instantly, like it was killing all of her friends up there. So let me use something else. Maybe since I have the power to basically do whatever I want, unleash Force lightning so powerful it can destroy ships in the sky, let me just, I don't know, lift her up in the air, or maybe crush her with the Force. I don't know, maybe cause these giant statues I got sitting up in this giant amphitheater here. Maybe I should just hold her up in the air, start to slowly crush her, and then just take these statues and then just crush her right in the middle of it. Do I like Star Wars? From the last two films, I haven't been too keen on it. I really haven't. So my like for Star Wars has diminished over the years, to say the least. I used to be excited for it. Now it's just like, okay, it's Star Wars. What's next? But you would think Palpatine would be that smart. But no, he's all like, I have unlimited power. So let me continue to shock this woman who's clearly blocking all that I'm shooting at her. And then you will know the true power of the dark side. She blocks it and then ends up throwing it back in her face. This is the second time he's had lightning thrown back in his face, and it's messed him up. First time, it completely charred and disfigured his face, and he came around looking like a human brain on a face. Had all the ridges, looked nasty, had the yellow eyes. This time, he gets hit back with enough of it for it to literally implode his body. So I'm thinking, it only takes like a shock. Have I tried drugs? Nope. Have not touched it. I have an example to set. I got kids who look up to me. I can't be doing any of that. But you would think he'd be smart enough to realize that this is not working. Maybe I should try something else. No, he just keeps trying the exact same thing, just spamming that attack button over and over again because he's got unlimited energy. This ought to hold out. This also work. I think it's going to work. Oh, wait, why is she pulling out 2 lightsabers? What is she doing? Ah, I'm getting shocked to death. And then he just blows up. And him blowing up pretty much blows up the amphitheater, takes out all the people that for some odd reason were just chilling in the amphitheater. Like, those were actual people. Where were they all these years? Where they, how the place looks like a storm planet where there's no plant life, where there's no life whatsoever except for the people in there. How are they living? Where they come from? Ain't no way they've been living for the past 30-something years and they all right. Some of them had to been dying. You can't tell me that, did they have some food? Did they have some water? Did they have some sustenance? No, they just chilling up there because we got to make this intimidating. So let's have a bunch of people who are in hoods who are all right, family. That's quite enough of that. So we got all these people in the amphitheater, and I'm just wondering, where are you people coming from? Why are you there? What purpose are you there for? Like, how are you eating? And then my thing is, this is the first time where all 3 of them are in the film all together, Rey, Poe, and Finn. Rey, Poe, and Finn, and they're all together. And the dynamic between all 3 of them, it doesn't feel like it was earned. This is just my opinion of it. I feel like the dynamic between all of them, it just didn't feel overly natural, because every other conversation out of them was either trying to be funny or them just arguing with one another. There wasn't too many moments where they were with each other long enough for it to feel like they built up like this super special bond of people who absolutely trust one another. That's just my whole my whole opinion on the thing. Like, the movie as a whole, it just felt like, like I said, it felt like a Disney movie. It didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. It just felt like a Disney movie. It's disappointing. Really. Like, Star Wars memorabilia, and I believe I got that. Hold on. This I got from Toys R Us back when it was still in business. Well, back when the stores were still open here. And this was before The Force Awakens. And this is me at the height that I could possibly feel for Star Wars. Sad thing is that we all know that Finn liked her. Yeah, and then all of a sudden that gets rear-ended because they decide to go the Reylo route, and they end up having Rey kissing Kylo Ren at the end. And I'm thinking, where did this even come from? Every time they've interacted with one another, they wanted to kill each other. There is you can't tell me that with them bonding all that time, they suddenly had some special feelings for one another. No, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. You don't do that. You don't build up this moment where they are absolute enemies. They want to destroy one another, or Rey wants to bring the other one back to the side of good. There is no indication that they had any special feelings for one another. And the thing is, I looked up some articles, and it turns out that J.J. Abrams says that the bond that they have is like that of a brother and a sister. Like, what type of brother and a sister? One from Alabama? Because that's not the type of brother and sisters I think you should be portraying in a Star Wars film. So I don't know what route they were going with that. And now everyone who's wishing for Reylo, all the drawn pictures, all the fanfic stories, they now can say that, well, my story may not be real, but at least the Reylo fandom lives on forever. So now that's a thing. But back to what I was feeling about Star Wars. Going into it, like, I got this at the height of my feelings for Star Wars, where I just felt like, yes, Star Wars is great. And I was hopeful that Force Awakens was going to be a continuation of what made Star Wars great. Then the sequel trilogy started to, taper off, and it started to massively start to divide fans. You have people who said that they didn't like it, and then you have people that said that they did like it. And both sides have shown just how toxic they can truly be. Now, me myself, I personally don't like it, but it is not my opinion nor my place to judge anyone who does. If you like Star Wars, if you like this sequel trilogy, good on you. More power to you. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong for thinking that. But these sequels have brought out like the little worst in people than they probably should have. Like you got toxic people threatening other people, toxic people on the side that liked it, and toxic people on the side that didn't like it. It's just movies should bring people together, not separate them. That's just my personal opinion on it. But overall, what I thought of this entire Skywalker saga, it started out good, and then it just went out with a whimper. That's my opinion on it. It started out on a high note, and then it went out on a low note. Not even a peaceful low note. My opinion, mind you, not even on a peaceful low note, but more like a well, there's nothing else we can really do at the end of this, so let's just make it up as we go along. Like so many unresolved things, like what's Rey's father's name? We don't know. We just know that he's the son of Palpatine. What's the deal with Poe and his Spice Runner days? We don't know because it has no relevance to the story, other than the fact that he knew someone, and we don't hear any more about it. What was the point of CPO sacrificing his memory if he was just going to get his memory back? What was the point of that big old moment where he says, "I'm taking one last look at my friends," and then he comes and then R2 pretty much just gives him his memory back before he goes on the mission, and it's like they didn't even lose anything at all. Leia ends up dying, becoming one with the Force, and she's just there with Luke, and then Luke, he's there as a ghost. Yet I still don't know what the limitations of being a Force ghost is, because now Force ghosts that usually, because remember back in the original trilogy when Ben came back as a Force ghost after, in the Empire Strikes Back, he comes back as a Force ghost and he tells Luke, and he's talking to him. And when Luke goes off to Bespin to rescue his friends because he has a vision that they were all going to get captured or killed or worse, well, what could be worse than killing? But and the first thing that Ben says, Luke, don't give in to hate. I can't do anything. I can't interfere, because he's a ghost that can't actually interact with the world. Then we have, what is it, The Last Jedi, where Yoda comes back, and now all of a sudden Force ghosts have completely upended that rule, because now Yoda can hit Luke in the head with a stick. He can now call lightning down on the planet out of nowhere. And now Luke is able to come out of the fire of the TIE fighter that Rey crashed, and he's able to catch the lightsaber at the last second and walk out of the flames, and he's affected by the wind on the planet. Like, what limitations do you even have as a Force ghost if you're able to interact with the world around you now? Because I thought the limitations of being a Force ghost is that you can only view things. You can't interact with it. You can't mess with it. You can only, I guess, if you're a Jedi, advise the next generation and just give advice and just talk to people that way. Just talk. But now we got Force ghosts who are able to use the Force and affect the world around them as if they're still alive, with the added bonus of not being even touched because they're a ghost now. Because there's no part in canon, or at least in the expanded universe, where a Force ghost was actually killed. So literally, anyone who becomes a Force ghost and learns the way that Yoda and Luke do, they're pretty much beyond OP, because you can't kill them. Yet they can interact with the world. So if they start fighting you, you're dead. That's it. So, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing now. I'm just like, this series that I've stayed with for so many years, to see it come to this, me personally, to see it come to this, I'm just like, okay. And I know some people will like this film. There are people who are going to like it. I'm not going to bash them for liking it. I just personally don't like it. I don't. It just felt meh to me. It felt like all the things that were supposed to be met to a climactic conclusion or a good conclusion, it just felt like it just went out on a very ho-hum note. Like, There's more that could have been done, more that could have been explained, plot holes that could have been left out completely if you had just give us the information, because we're not kids. It's not like you're gonna tell us something and we're just gonna immediately not understand it. No, we smart, but I'm ranting again. I'm carrying on a lot longer than I need to. But overall, I just felt like it was just meh. For this to be the end of the Skywalker saga that's been built up since back since, what is it, 1960 something? I want to say 1960 something. That's just my personal opinion, you guys. And I wanted to do this as a spoiler talk because I know I talked about a little bit about this during my Borderlands 3 stream, but I kind of wanted to just dedicate a whole moment where I just talked about it here by itself. Like characters who had actual character arcs now don't really have any like Finn. I'm going back to Finn. Like Finn had his own character where he was supposed to be like a deserter stormtrooper. I know I talked about this earlier, but I'm just reiterating just how pointless and Finn is no longer a unique character like he was supposed to be. First time we see Finn, he don't want to kill nobody. He doesn't want to kill innocents. I don't say nobody because in later films he's just straight up killing everybody that isn't innocent. And he's a deserter stormtrooper, which we've never seen in the films before. And yeah, that was his big thing. He was just a stormtrooper that decided to join the resistance. Now we get to the planet where Jannah and her tribe are all stormtroopers who deserted. So literally Finn's one defining trait that made him unique out of everyone in the resistance is no longer his one unique thing, because now other people have it. So now, since Jannah is more than likely joining the resistance, he's no longer unique. There's nothing unique about him. And the one thing about Poe Dameron was he's supposed to be the best fighter in the fleet. With his own X-Wing. That's the reason why his X-Wing has a different color than everyone else's. His is black and orange, while everyone has that classic white and red, or gray and red. But as soon as we get into the film, he's saying like, yeah, I know, but Rey isn't here right now, because apparently now Rey is the best fighter, starfighter in the entire fleet. So pretty much what makes Poe unique is straight out the window. Because now all the traits that made Finn unique and made Poe unique are now given to other people or dozens of other people. So their unique traits are no longer unique because other people fill that role now. So their literal characters are just them being members of the resistance. Period. They got nothing else going for them. That's it. And how did we get here? How did we get here from enjoying such awesome moments as Luke finding out that Vader was his father, or when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan face off against Darth Maul in what could be one of the best iterations of lightsaber fights we've seen, or Obi-Wan versus Anakin, where we don't get that level of choreography anymore with people using lightsabers, because when it gets to Kylo and Rey and they're fighting with lightsabers, they're just swinging at each other. There's no finesse. There's no level of grace. There's nothing there. It's just they're just swinging at each other in the hopes that one of them will slip up and they actually can hit one another. But it's just them swinging their sabers around, and that's it. There's no level of control. Kylo's using like wide sweeps and Rey's using like wide sweeps. Like, show some diversity in these fights, all right? And my thing is with Rey, she's not too overly acrobatic or, like Jedi-like with her moves, because even when I was watching the fight, even though regardless if she spun around or did anything, the way she swung her lightsaber, it didn't feel like it was going like she was being guided by the Force. It was more like she's just fighting, so she's just gonna swing it in this direction. If he's gonna swing from me here, then I'm gonna block it here, and then we're gonna hit here, and then we're gonna hit here, and then we're gonna swing hard, and then we're gonna swing hard there, and then sweep, and all this stuff that just looks like it looked very, very predictable movements. It's like if you were fighting like Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon or Darth Maul, they had moves that made it so that it would catch you off guard all the time. That's why they all look like they were careful how they like. The thing is, we won't get fights like Anakin versus Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. We won't get those no more. We won't get any type that are like Sidious versus Yoda or Windu versus Palpatine. We won't get any of those anymore unless we get another Force Unleashed game or another Knights of the Old Republic game where it lets us play as an actual Jedi. Jedi Fallen Order is a good example, but it's not. It's more in line with like it's more Dark Soulsy, so you got to be careful how that kind of combat goes. I'm rambling again. Let me just go ahead and end it here. Me personally, I just feel like the Star Wars saga as a whole, the whole Skywalker saga, it just went out with a whimper, and I'm kind of disappointed that the series as a whole has kind of gone down this route. Once again, my own opinion. If you like it, hey, more power to you. But me, I just didn't like it. And I'm wondering what are they going to do with Star Wars now? Because the Skywalker saga is over. I don't know if they're going to bring. They're most likely. I mean, Carrie Fisher is gone. Rest in peace. Peter Mayhew is gone. Rest in peace. Harrison Ford. Don't know if he's ever going to come back for anything Star Wars related. Don't know if Anthony Daniels is going to come back for anything Star Wars related. Don't know if Mark Hamill is going to come back for anything Star Wars related. Don't know where the Star Wars world will go from here. Because we had that whole Star Wars Resistance show. Never watched it, but I didn't hear many good things about it. It was just okay at best. So I don't know where we're going to go from here for Star Wars, whether they're going to start up a new trilogy or what. I mean, all we have right now is Mandalorian, and that seems to be the only bright spot in this entire universe is the Mandalorian, which I have yet to see. Gonna watch it when I get the chance. But overall, that's just my opinion on it. Thank you guys for just coming out and to see me today. You guys didn't have to. You guys didn't have to take the 1 hour and 16 minutes out of your busy schedule to just come see me rant about a film that I didn't like. But you guys came around anyway. So thank you for stopping by. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in the next video. More than likely, I probably won't do any more. Like, I probably won't do a game stream. I do have a video to upload, which is well, you guys will see if you tune into my stuff. But that's all I got to say about it. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in the next video. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. Bum 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 bum.